Hi, I'm Wendy K. I've just been interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I had a great time. I recommend the show to everyone to show that disabilities, any kind of thing, doesn't define a person. Thank you.
Today on the Keith Andrew Network, episode 810, we have professional actress Wendy Kate. And that's right, Wendy Kate on the Keith Andrew Network. It's a great episode, wonderful to catch up. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. Following is brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the episode. Also brought to you by Wife of a Fighter. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And as I always say, I'll catch you later. The whole point of the Keith Andrew Network is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them and get them out to something. So hashtag break the labels. That being said, this is the second time you've been on my show. I've been looking forward to catching up with you. I know we've been jumping through some hoops to get that work, but here you are, back on the Keith Andrew Network. Thank you very much. And one thing I do want to say to you before we get started, thank you very much for sending me all those lovely postcards.
I enjoy doing it. I love doing it because, you know, I love getting mail, and when people are good to me, I don't forget that, because there's a lot of people out this world that tend to take you for granted. So when someone like you are nice to me, I want to show my appreciation.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. And it's funny, I love getting mail too.
Yeah.
Not from the IRS or, these stupid like things saying, oh, you won't apply for a credit card? No, I don't need any credit card debts. But it's nice to say, hey, Keith, you got mail. But when you look at it, it's like, what is this crap?
What happened? This is 20th century stuff. What happened?
And it's like, oh, you got a bill from Discovery. No, I got one for you. Discover the garbage. I try to keep it down to two credit cards, and that's all you need. You don't need to say, well, I have 10 credit cards. Well, I bet you're in debt.
Talk about the credit rating.
That. Yeah, hey, if you have money to throw around, but my brother always told me.
You want to share it? Want to share it? We'll gladly accept.
My brother always told me, just because you use a credit card doesn't mean you have money. And he's right. I found out the hard way when I had to pay back $800.
What do you think you add to the economy? You're helping the economy keep going by adding your money, so it shows how rich you are. Right?
True, but here's a funny story for you. I was about 14. No, I was about 15 or 16, and I walked into Chase, and I don't know how it came up, but I ended up with a credit card. And my dad's like, he's 15 or 16. He doesn't even have a job. That's okay. We can give him a beginner credit card. Lord. It's like, I guess they give credit cards to anybody.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. They really want to give them out. I thought you had to be at least 21 to get those.
But the first question I want to ask you is, how you been during the quarantine?
Well, it's a lot of patience. I had something set up during the time. I was so excited. When the pandemic came, delay. And so, okay. And my mom always said, everything happens for a reason, so you got to be positive. So during this time, I'm trying to improve myself. There's something I like about myself, I learned. And I love the idea that we can go online. I can learn something like Stage 32. I read it every day. All the different blogs, all the different things. I'm learning that way. And actually, I was kind of glad, because I thought, oh, shoot, I didn't know this. I'm learning this amount. So actually, it's like a learning process through this whole thing, plus learning the power of patience, which I don't have the greatest, and it's helping give me time to research other jobs that maybe I did not know that was out there had I been busy with something else. So everything happens for a reason, even though on my patients, I'm like, I'm frustrated because I want to get this going, but I always see something that was meant to be. So I look at the positive.
Well, you said patience is a virtue, as someone once said to me. And I said, well, I think you have the wrong person.
I think everyone's like that. You want it now. Parents say, "Oh, just be patient." Easy for you to say, you know.
It's true. You know, I used to go to KB Toys when I was younger and Toys R Us, and my parents said, oh, you can't buy this toy now. You get it next time. But I had the mentality of, I want it now. It's important. It's really important. I want it now. But looking back, I'm like, you can buy it anytime down the road. It was, when you're a kid, it's kind of like a big, magical deal. But looking back, it's like, that was really stupid on my part.
Well, I was stupid. Just at the time you had a plan, you want to have that. That was important. But you know, your real positive stuff wasn't meant to be.
No, I agree. You know, for the other thing I do want to address to our audience is, you know, I'm doing special events. You know, I'm doing, oh, actually, it's funny you're here if we talk about one of those. On June 10th at 5 o'clock, if you want to write it down, on June 10th, 5 o'clock, it's going to be my 8-year anniversary.
Wow, that's nice.
Oh, thank you. And then I was thinking, what else can I do? June 12th, I interviewed a lot of wrestlers. So I'm going to do a special Keith Andrew Network Presents WWE older wrestlers I interviewed. Then I'm going to try to interview the class of 2006, interview the class of 1975, 91. And I'm like, well, if I can do these special events, that's good for me. I get myself out there. Also, I can build on the audience at the same time. But, you know, it's a hit and miss. But what I expect from my guests is to be professional, dress professional, and sure as hell, act professional. Now, what you do in your free time, that's your business. But when you're on the show with me, this is not a joke. This is not a game. I'm not doing this to, you know, blow smoke out of my ass or I waste people's time. I take this very seriously. Mm-hmm. So, you know, dress professionally, act professionally. It's how you want to be represented. Why I'm wearing a shirt like this is because I hold myself to a higher standard. And I've been telling people, you know, occasionally, and I asked you, but it's not a big deal. If you have a nice background like you do, you don't have to use my logo. But occasionally I would say I would appreciate it if you use my logo so it looks more professional and it looks really, with, you know, better lighting. It just looks all over a lot nicer. I know when we first did the interview, we talked on Skype, and yeah. I decorated my brother's bed, you know, with the stands and everything. Now, of course, now they're in the closet. Well, I don't have any use for them right now, thanks to Zoom. But, you know, it's as a progress. But the biggest thing is, you know, people say, what is the questions you want to ask me? You know, life growing up, how was high school and college? How did you start your career? It's PG-13. Yes, it is uncensored, but at least have some common courtesy to say, okay, he's giving me some freedom to say what I want, but be professional. In the past couple interviews I did, it's kind of like, you know, why did I even bother with this person? But it's kind of like, I like giving people an opportunity, and I'm not taking that away from anything, but you just freaking be appreciated. You know, you're very thankful that, you know, I extended my hand to you in friendship. You made a new friend out of it. And you were nice enough to mail me, you know, birthday cards and holiday cards, and I'm very thankful for that. But there's other people who would say, what's in it for me? But anyway, this is not about me doing a real rant. You know, that's been something on my mind. But what we're going to do is take a quick commercial break. Okay. And during our interview, we will show clips of the very first time that we talked. and it's all like a before and after. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you some more questions and pass it over to you. Now we're welcome back to the show. It's a good friend of mine, Ms. Wendy. It's an honor and privilege having you with us. The first thing I want to promote is Life of a Fighter. If you're into fitness, eating healthy, drinking healthy, make sure to check out Life of a Fighter. It'll be on this side of the screen. Also on this side of the screen will be H.B. Gibson, Home of the X Zone. If you're into entertainment and video games, definitely get into the zone. Definitely subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. On the Keith Andrew Network, we have videos from professional wrestling, from comedians, from the Human Pyramid Challenge to the Dumbo Challenge. We have so many great content on the Keith Andrew Network. It's only going to get bigger and better. Make sure to like and subscribe to that. Definitely the first question I want to ask you is, it's been a long time since we talked. I think it was 5-6 years ago.
Oh my goodness, that flies.
So the first one I want to ask you is, how have you been? Going back to the first question.
I've been fine.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd say I've been fine, just trying to keep busy, trying to keep active and learn all I can, so I can be up with the competition. Because there's so many. I mean, I watch the videos I've seen, and you see the videos. I'm like, there's so many talented people out there that you got to keep raising your pedestal, as they say, so you can be better than them, or with them. So when you go compete with them, whatever, you're just as good as them.
It's funny you should mention that, because that's the next one I want to ask you, because you are a professional actress. What makes you different from the competition?
Good question. I guess my willingness that I don't give up, and that no matter what's out there, I'll just keep trying to get better and learn more, and just make myself more unique, because not blend in. I don't want to blend in. I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be me, to stand out.
No, I agree. A lot of things about me, a lot of people would say is, lots of the recommendations I have on my Instagram. One guy said, Beldermont, he said to me, what Keith does is he shows everyone he can do what we're doing, but what makes him different is the fact he has a learning disability. And my friend Raven always likes to put me over. He doesn't have to, but he always puts me over, says, you just blow me away about you have a talk show and you read and learn at a 5th grade to middle school level, but look at what you accomplished. And it's like, I appreciate you putting me over, but you don't have to do that. But the biggest thing is, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're my age or, not to say anything, but if we're in the same age range, age has nothing to do with it. It's the biggest thing is, how do you stay relevant? Here's an example. The Undertaker's been around for 30 years.
Wow.
And during 30 years, he was the dead man. Then he became the American Badass, the biker. Then he went back to being the dead man again. But you constantly have to reinvent yourself. There's someone named Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy, was around since 1994.
Wow.
And he's still wrestling now. And, with the Hardy Boys and all that, and the broken gimmick, if you can reinvent yourself and connect with the audience, and that's the biggest thing is, and that's something I'm struggling with, is connecting with the audience. But if you can connect with them, hey, you have it made. It's hard to stay relevant.
Oh, I agree, because people, I don't know, they like something, but they need something new. They're not going to always stay with the same thing. They want continue situation different.
I agree. Look at Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan became famous. He got his start in Rocky 3. 19.
Oh, I saw that movie on TV the other night.
Oh, it's a classic. Let's see, Hulk Hogan was starting out in 1982. It's a funny story about that. Vince McMahon Sr. fired Hogan because, he's like, oh, I have a role. I'd be in Rocky. McMahon's father said, nope, you're a wrestler, not a movie star. If you do it, you're fired. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm fired. Vince McMahon Jr., that's the one who McMahon's still around now, rehired him. And here you go. You have Hulkamania. And Hulkamania took off from 85 to, and it's still going now, 30 years later. Hulkamania is going long. It's almost 40 years.
No, he's still going. You still see me on TV, and you see this Hulk Hogan, you know who he is.
No, absolutely. He was in movies. He opened the door. The joke was Jesse the Body Ventura says, Hogan, you stay out of my area expertise, because Jesse the Body was, name one movie Jesse the Body Ventura was in. I can't think of any.
No.
Therefore, he sucks as an actor. Wrestler, I'm not really sure, but Hulk Hogan, he made professional wrestling. He made some movies, weren't great movies, but you saw it because he's
there.
Yeah. And of course, as you entered in the early 90s, Hulkamania McMahon wanted to go into another direction of the next generation. And so he left the WCW. And what made WCW very popular was the fact he had Hogan, Savage, and Piper, people who made the World Wrestling Federation, are now in another company, making them more popular. So you have to have, I'll give you an example. Hulk Hogan recently came back and for a host WrestleMania. Old fans who are Hulk Hogan fans are like, I want to go see it because it's Hogan. But yet you have people in this generation who are like, who's Hogan? And I know, thanks, that makes me feel old. It's like, who's Hogan? And
so you can just say they haven't been watching TV. Hey, your parents been keeping TV away from you?
No, I agree. It's good to have nostalgia.
Yeah.
But to sell the future, you have to sell the past. If you can't sell the past, you can't make an impact, if that makes any sense. But I want to ask you about social media, because last time we talked, I think it was 2015. During that time, you mentioned Stage 32. And it's funny, I don't really use Stage 32 that much anymore. I kind of found something else.
Okay.
But I want to ask you, with everything that you accomplished in 6-7 years that we last talked, have you gotten opportunities from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Facebook, I've gotten some offers for different modeling jobs, which I was happy about. Stage 32 is like networking. It gave me different like writers. Like someone made like a movie and they sent me a script, and I was like, wow, this is great. But because of the pandemic, things got scrapped. But the idea, it gave me notice, and I was like, this is wonderful. So that's why I'm on every day. I'm on every day looking at all my. I mean, I probably spend a good amount of time, but because of that, it brings me out to the world the probably I normally had not been on it when I had an opportunity. So even though some things have been canceled, delayed, the idea on my face is out there, and that gives me hope for opportunity. It really feels great for someone who came from a family which no one's in the business. It's great. Okay, you can't just no complain there.
No, I agree with you. My father was a teacher. One of my brothers was a teacher. And there's no one in the entertainment business. I mean, okay, there's my uncle who was a radio host, but he wasn't famous or anything. But there's really no one in my immediate family that's in the entertainment business. So being the first to say, I'm going to break those barriers. It's really hard.
That's cool. No, that sounds like my dad. My dad said it, everyone's family teaches. He goes, yeah, I'm the black sheep of the family. He got him in business. So I go, no, you did what made you happy. He's like, he was this positivity over there.
I think at one time, I think my dad actually thought everyone in the family would be teachers, but you know, but then again, there's a lot of things. But wrapping up our talk show, was there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote? What's the last 6 minutes left?
Oh goodness. That don't give up on anything you want. It seems like everything that whenever I get down, I just give up. Something comes in. So for everyone out there who feel like you give up, that doesn't seem possible, don't think that because when you least expect it, your opportunities will come. And that's happened with me. And I think back all the times and I start smiling, thinking, okay, it was worth all that. Even though I was upset and frustrated, there's a prize at the end. So for everyone, remember that.
No, absolutely. I don't know if you're on Instagram, but you should definitely get on that.
No, I get so much trying to keep with all of my social media. I'm afraid it's like it's why I keep up and down certain ones.
Well, I would recommend getting Instagram and being on LinkedIn, Facebook, but you have to have the big four. The big four is LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Okay, Twitter, I really don't use that much, so let's knock it down to the big three. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Those are the big ones that you should definitely check out. But like I said, all my episodes are on the Keith Andrew Network. Definitely like and subscribe. The following is brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the X Zone. Get into the zone. Also, Life of a Fighter. We have so much brand new content coming on the Keith Andrew Network. But the one thing I want to plug before we wrap up the show, it's June 10th at 5 o'clock.
Oh, thank you.
I would love to have you there. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege to have me as a guest. And I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Thank you.